ridiculous. All right. Yep. Perfect. All right.
Earthquake.
So
YouTube.
I decided to switch it up a little bit today. How about that? I'm gonna just have to raise it up a little bit. You get close to me for a minute. All right, that'll do. Close enough for now. We'll set it up later. But all right, I was gonna do an Aeropress setup, but look at this. I can move my hand. It's out of the sling momentarily for the weekend. It's feeling good. Dr. Cooney, you did a great job. Thank you very much. All right, so I decided that we've got a blog coming out, or it just got posted, and it's all about grinders. We often talk about the key elements to what makes a great coffee, and it's not. I can tell you straight up from here. Although I really love the way that I roast coffee, I enjoy the way I roast coffee. It's been recognized many times, but it will not carry itself through the end to the cup. And there are many different aspects to make a great cup of coffee, and one of them. And one of the most important ones is a grinder. So I've got 3 here that I picked up. They're all in our kitchen, so I wanted to show you guys what it's all about and why the grinders are so important. And it also helped to make a decision that you guys can get out there and make your own, buy your own grinder or invest in a grinder, and what goes on behind the reasonings and the decisions to purchase a great grinder or to purchase any grinder at all. So many people buy their coffee from us, and they have it ground in the shop. And of course, we have the greatest, greatest state-of-the-art grinders that give you guys whatever you want, whether it's a drip filter, whether it's coarse ground for a French press, or whether it's cold brew, or whether it's we don't usually like to grind for espresso, but and so some of the advantages and disadvantages of having us do it, of course, it's convenient, and you get to go home with a bag of fresh ground coffee, and it's consistent. The grind's always going to be consistent. It's always going to be the right grind for the right purpose that you're going to be using it for. The disadvantages, for the most part, are the fact that coffee goes staler, faster when it's ground. So, a bag of coffee beans like this can last about, it can easily last in your house a month. The flavor does degrade and the coffee does get stale, but the coffee is fresh ground per every drink that you make in the morning, gives you a lot longer lifespan for the drinks and the coffee that you're going to have versus ground coffee. Ground coffee, I would say, easily is affected by it. It's instantly affected the minute it's ground. And then from there, the steep decline of being stale and the flavors dissipating probably lasts about a week to 2 weeks maximum. So we always recommend if there's two levels. There's many levels of people in coffee. The super geek, and they've got every gadget known under the sun and to man. They're all the way down to those who really just want their great cup of coffee in the morning, and it wakes them up and away they go. In between is everybody else. Myself, I love to grind my coffee in the morning, and I love the smell and the aromas that fresh ground coffee permeates out into the atmosphere, especially into the kitchen. Every morning I come out here, I make espresso or I make drip filter. Actually, I make drip filter every single day. It's one of my favorite methods to get a few cups of coffee into me before the day starts. But grinders. So to make a great cup of coffee, it's essential to have fresh roasted coffee, great water or filtered water at the very least, and a good grinder or grinder to grind fresh per the brew. There's 3 different kinds. You'll find 3 different kinds of grinders out there in the market, and very commonly used. The first one is a blade grinder. Usually, these guys were actually, I'm not sure why they were invented. I'll have to look at why they were invented. I think for the most part, they were for herbs and spices. So this is a blade grinder. You guys can see the little blade in here.
We use it for flax seeds.
So we use this one for flax seeds. Now, it can and is commonly used as a coffee grinder, and it is so the advantages are it's cheap, convenient, and it does a small amount of coffee. It transforms them from whole bean to ground or to particles.
Is it better than nothing?
It is absolutely better than nothing.
Okay.
It's better than a rolling pin and a Ziploc bag and smashing them on the counter.
Or a mortar and pestle.
Or mortar and pestle. So do I need to tell that story? So I will actually.
You did. I did.
On
live already.
Yeah, I'll go back and do it. But so it's cheap, easy, convenient, easy to get. And you can do a good amount of coffee in here. The disadvantages of the cons of this guy is one that it smashes the beans. It doesn't actually grind the beans. It smashes them into millions of different particles. It is uncontrollable in the ability to give you a consistent grind of what you're looking for. So you can't really say today I'm going to make a French press and grind the correct style of grind for French press, and then tomorrow I want to do drip filter. What ends up happening is you end up with drip filter, espresso, and French press all at once. So this guy, yes, it does serve its purpose, and yes, it does give you smashed coffee or ground coffee or particle coffee, but your inability to have consistent grinds or to control the flavor profiles is extreme. So one thing to go back a little bit and talk about the technicalities of science of the coffee and the extraction. If you have varying sizes of coffee grounds, you're going to have varying profiles of flavor or varying extraction times and percentages. The finer the grind, the more extraction you're going to get from the coffee because you've got more surface area in contact with the water. The larger the grind, obviously, the less extraction you're going to get from the coffee, and the less of the surface area. In the middle, it's going to end up roughly what you're looking for. And the problem you end up with is that a very fine ground coffee exposed to lots of water for a long period of time extracts, and we've talked about this before, it extracts both the desirable and the undesirable flavors. So you end up with a big mix of the flavor profiles and not consistent. So that's one of the big things. And the big disadvantage of this is inconsistency of flavor and the true signature of what are the flavors of the coffees that you're trying to brew. So let's say I've got a Costa Rica and I know how my Costa Rica tastes. I go put it through here and I say, let's say it's got nice chocolate tones and it's got some nice stone fruit flavors and green apple and whatever it's got going on for it. And they're the standard flavor profiles that I recognize before I put it out there on the shelf. You take it home and you're looking forward to those milk chocolates, and you're looking forward to those green apples, and you're looking forward to those really nice flavors, and you're looking forward to what you just had at the roasting house or the lounge locations as a pour over. You take it home, you put it in your blade grinder, you brew it, and you think, what the hell is this? And I can tell you straight up, if it's not your water, it's your grinder. All right, so that's one of the key. That's why we talk about the key points of why it is very important to, it's an investment. I get it, and I can say to you that for as little as $100, even probably less, when you look around and get the bargains at Walmart or Costco, you can pick up a good little Burr grinder for $100 or less, $75. I think we've seen them for a good one.
Cheaper, and even cheaper. $40, $50.
Anyway, so are they helpful? Yes. Can you get a cup of coffee out of them? Yes. But there are better options to the blade grinder.
It is crazy though, like how much you talked about the grinder making a difference in the flavor notes. And then you just mentioned water, which can totally change the flavor notes. And then last weekend we talked about how you're brewing it. Like if you do a French press and a pour over, it can change. Like,
and then even the cup.
There's so many variables. Yeah, variables.
Massively variables. A couple things I'm going to do. I'm actually going to show you guys. If I get my son to get me some blank paper out of the printer, that'd be awesome. A couple of pieces of white paper. Thanks, Jordy. And I am actually going to grind. I am going to grind a bit of this.
So what you're saying is, it's not only how you roast it. It's not all on you. The end cup experience.
No, someone else can screw it up.
No, let's look. Yes, there's a lot of pressure on me. But the reason there is that, you know, it goes from the farmers. You know, the farmers have taken time and a massive investment to, you know, to make sure that they're growing the right type of plants at the right altitude, looking after them and pruning them and picking them at the right times and the right maturation and all of those bits and pieces that go into it before they even get to me. And then for me to go and decide which coffee I'm actually going to buy, bringing it in, roasting it, tasting it, comparing them all and saying, okay, I'm going to take this Costa Rica out of Narano versus the one out of Tarazu or anything else and say, okay, this is the coffee I want. I bring it in, then I roast it. And roasting is infinite of how I put the beans through the process and what I can do to them. There's no fixed, and don't let anyone tell you that there's a fixed way to roast a coffee, because there isn't. It's just like making wine. It's just like making a cocktail. It's just like making coffee. How I roast the coffee is completely infinite. I can control the speed of my barrel, my roaster. I can control the amount of heat applied, the amount of air applied, the length of time that it's roasted. And when you think about, you know, a roast cycle I do about 60 pounds. I do about 60 pounds in one session. No, actually 24. Yeah, I do. So one barrel load is 60 pounds. And thinking about over 12 minutes, how many seconds in a minute? And so that kind of gives you the infinity of what, is that a word? Did I just make up a word? So many variables of what I can do with the roast. Same with coffee and like that's, so anyway, that just gives you an insight of some of the things that can be done. Can we plug that in?
Sorry, took you down a rabbit hole there.
Mark Michelson is here. He's so happy to see your face.
Brother, actually, I was only thinking about you boys this morning. I was thinking I need to run a live and get you boys back in action. Hope you're doing well, and hope the shoulder's coming together. Although not the shoulder, that's me. The knee, the miss. But good to see you, brother. And I'm live on YouTube. So for anybody out there watching on Instagram or Facebook right now, we're playing around with going live on YouTube. And
how many people does it take to plug in a coffee grinder?
The girls will help me out over here. So it's going to make a little bit of noise. We'll just. And the problem is, if I just hold it down flat like this, let's see what happens. We're going to do an experiment. We have a question. We're going live experimenting. Talk to me.
One, Mark Michelson says there's a company called Capresso that makes a great grinder that's less than $100. So that's good to know. And then what variables do you mostly pay attention to while roasting?
Is that Mark?
There's a question.
Is that from Mark?
Maybe.
The temperature of the roasting house, the air conditioning, what is that set to?
He's one of the best roasters in the country, so it's always funny when he's asking me questions like that. What do I pay most attention to? Actually, you know what? I pay most attention to the last quarter of the roast. My airspeed, obviously. I set my drum speed, so I always run a fixed drum speed unless I'm trying to do something tricky like stall the roast out at the end. These days with the Gießen, I've been playing around with ramping up the barrel speed at the end, and it helps flatten out my development time. It gives me a lot more control at the end there. It's like he knows. We play around with lots and lots of different things, and we get the opportunity when we're not doing our regular roast production. We do thousands of pounds a week. and he does tens of thousands of pounds a week. But it's when you do the regular everyday roast, you do it for consistency. So we do exactly the same roast profile for exactly the same coffee every single day. But when we get the opportunity to experiment and play with it all, then we change our variables. We change our air speed. We change our air pressures. We change our barrel speeds and heat applications, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So let's get back to the subject.
That smells amazing, by the way.
This is our espresso blend, and this is ground in a blade grinder. I did just hang on to it and just let it rip. And I can show you, we can see very, very, very definitely what I'm talking about when it comes to grind consistency. So if I was to put this through a set of sieves, which I don't have with me, but we will see, look, I've got chunks. I've got actual rock chunks in here, and I've also got what we call fines. So I've got powdered dust and tiny little, if we can get the cameras in here.
Get close for the gram. Get
close in for the gram. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show YouTube. I'll see if I can set up that to show YouTube. But look, there's we got rocks, and we've got all the way over this side. We've got fines. Look, we've got tiny little fine grinders. So the variance in this is massive, and it really doesn't help. It's like Amy, my wife actually has a great explanation of this on a regular basis. What do you say?
It's like the difference. You mean how it flows through the coffee grounds?
No, you talk about trying to roast. When we talk about roasting quality, can you guys see that? That's you can see on the right hand side over here. I can't use my shoulder, so I can't use that hand. But over this side, there you go. You can see the big rock chunks, and over this side you can see a lot of the fines and a lot of the dust and the offset of that. So that is a blade grinder. Could we make a cup of coffee out of that? Absolutely. Would the general population and those who just look for a caffeine kick in the morning taste any different? Most likely not. Most likely that these guys will have a great cup of coffee just from this anyway.
I get the question a lot because I think a lot of people already have that kind of grinder in their home, and they may not want to go the next step of adding a Burr grinder.
There's two answers. If your coffee is going to be at your house for more than a week, most likely 2 to 3 weeks, then grinding it per cup or per brew is far better than the staling of the coffee after that week. But yeah, that's my answer always. It's like if you're gonna use it all in a week, sure, no problem. Why not? It always works out really, really well. And then the next type of grinder. So we'll move on. How are we doing for time? We're doing pretty well. The next type of grinder is a Burr grinder. I'm going to show you guys this one because it is. I can pull it apart, and I'm actually going to show you the parts within this little dude. So this little dude is a hand grinder or a manual grinder. Does lots of work. I am not going to show you how this works today, because my shoulder will not let me do that. But we'll pull it apart and we'll show you the ability and what happens and how a grinder actually works. So there's two types of grinders when it comes to Burr grinders. There's a flat Burr grinder and a conical Burr grinder. For the most part, for the public and for the affordability side of things, the Burr grinder, the conical Burr grinder, is what you find in most of the machines. It's most readily available. It is most readily manufactured by all the big names and brands. As Mark mentioned, there's a brand out there really super cheap. Capresso. Capresso is one. Brassetti make a pretty affordable model as well. I know Bodum. We sell Bodum, and I test drove at Bodum here for nearly 2 years in the kitchen. It does a really good job, and I know you can find KitchenAids and the like in them to start developing some good grinders for their system as well. So they're espresso. So I'm working with them. Yeah. So anyway, what is a Burr grinder? A Burr grinder, this guy is ceramic coated. A Burr grinder is literally as it sounds and as it is described on this little shaft here. So the two worlds meet in the middle here, the female Burr and the male Burr, and they twist. You twist one against the other, and there's usually what we can do and what we do. This is a Seti 270. This is a really high-end, super nice home grinder, but they all have the same ability. They all have the adjustability to create the grind, the correct grind that you need for the coffee and the purpose that you're going to be grinding your coffee for. I'm going to show you guys up close, see if I can get this to be seen close. I'm not sure if you can show me. Instagram can see that. You can see the little flutes. You can see the big flutes. You can see the big flutes in that in the burr, in the grinder, in the burr, and then you can see the tiny little channels and the little scars. They're the actual burrs or flutes. And so, let's see if I can get. I can't get that. I know. Kind of see it. We need a little bit better light. And then I know Facebook can see it easily, probably doing it like that. But if I hold it in the light there, you can see the differences. And it doesn't have to be ceramic coated; it can be just plain up steel. Stainless, lots of hardened steel, and the really nice ones are ceramic coated. Helps for temperature dissipation as well. So, which is, I know we can get a bit scientific and mechanical there, but we won't. So, from the inside of this, the coffee comes down from the coffee is sitting here in the top side of the chamber, and we grind this in a clockwise direction, and so the coffee comes down in between the burrs, like a what do you call it? Just a little channel way. And so what happens is as the burr turns, the coffee's in between the two channels, and you're actually with a good quality grinder versus the blade, you actually shave the coffee beans. You're hoping to be the most consistent grind particles. It's a bit like a chef and their knife skills. You know, the better the chef, the finer the skill and the finer the slice and the more consistent the slice is. And that's exactly what you're doing to the coffee. You're actually not smashing or grinding it. It fractures because it's a brittle state, but you are sanding it away or grinding it or cutting the surface of the coffee away. And as it gets finer and finer, you can control it by the adjustment in these guys. So that is the overall principle of a burr grinder versus the blade grinder, where the blade is actually just chopping into or smashing into the beam surface of itself and shattering the brittle surface. So the two differences, very, very different. Very, one is very controlled and one is just pure brutality. So I'll see if I can get this back together. So then I get lots of questions about quality of grinders and different types and different, you know, I've done lots and lots of work and research and had lots of seminars in regard from manufacturers like Rancilio I've been involved with a lot of, compact grinders I've been involved with a lot of, Baratza also, and I've sat in lots and lots of lectures about why their machines are better than others. And I've actually sat in the early days in the manufacturer's reps and the technical guys to learn more about what their grinders are doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it different. Of course, everyone does their sales pitch, but it's also fun to learn. Especially we had huge experiments on espresso making with a flat burr grinder versus a conical burr grinder, and we could actually taste the differences. Amy and I were there for that one. You can actually taste the difference and a conical burr grinder espresso. So
yeah, it was
that blew me away.
It was very noticeable. Completely different cup of coffee.
Yeah, completely different cup of coffee. It was very, very cool. Very fun. All right. So then, as I've mentioned along the way, you know, it's up to you guys and your budgets, and it's up to you guys and how you want to treat your coffee. But I can definitely say grinder. We do sell these guys, but I'm not promoting them for that reason. The Brassetti have been around a very long time. They do have a large range of grinders going all the way from, I think, nearly $100, and these guys can get crazy, silly, expensive, like all the way to $1,000 for a home grinder.
But that one's really nice because it goes really, really fine.
I like this one. This one also has a bigger brother. So this is the 270. This is a Seti 270, and it's all manual. So you can set the time of the amount of grinds that you want to do in here, and then you hit grind, and away it goes. The big brother of this, or the more technical version, actually weighs the grinds for you. So you put whatever you're grinding into. You press play. Say you want 17 grams for a pour over. You just put in here 17 grams. You grind it, and it weighs out the 17 grams, and away you go. Same concept, same principle, same concept. These guys, there's no difference to these guys as to the one I just showed you in a sense. All right, so if you look down in here, there is exactly the same set of burrs and grinder, and exact same set of burrs sitting down in the middle of here, and you can actually see them. We want to see that? I'm not sure if anyone wants to see it, but inside there, turn it like that into the light. You can see down in there, it looks exactly the same as the hand grinder. Obviously motor driven and mechanically adjustable. So on this guy here, we've got a coarse setting, coarse and fine setting, and then we've got an ultra coarse and fine setting within that setting. So very, very, very adjustable. This guy can run all the way from I'd say, to be honest, I would have to say this one can do drip filter to espresso, no problem. I wouldn't recommend doing this one for French press. I don't think it gets quite coarse enough. You could probably adjust it a little bit more in the setup and the calibration of it, but for the home user, it's not something you want to mess around with unless you're well skilled at it. But yeah, great grinder, good brand. I also recommend Hario for hand grinders. As Mark mentioned too, Capresso is another good one. Bodum also makes some solid grinders, and of course Mr. Coffee, and their range of bits and pieces that they can do. And what we'll do is I will
some coffee this morning.
Seriously.
I think the girls want some coffee. How am I doing? It's only 11:30.
Great blog written by somebody on our team, by Burr. So that inspired you to really focus on this morning.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think this was much more fun. Actually, and her blog she did a great job on the blog. So it was great to to follow up on that and to also pass along that education live and show people what we're talking about, a reference to it, so we can actually learn something. I want everybody out there to be able to have a great cup of coffee every morning and not be reliant on others. Honestly, it's like I teach my kids. I look for independence. I want for them to be educated. I want for them to be don't be stuck on having to have your coffee different grind sizes. If you've got your own grinder at home, do Aeropress. But I don't think I can. Yeah, maybe.
You don't think you can push it down?
I can, but I need a rest. Of a Brassetti 270. Let's see. We're going to measure about 30 grams. Pop that in the top there. This does make a racket, so block your ears. I've set this to about 20 seconds. Hit go. All right, so that was 20 seconds, and let's look at the differences. You can already see how much of a difference this grinder versus this grinder. Under the light there, and those of you can jump in here on the cameras. I know, see if I can get it for YouTube as well. but you can definitely see the massive differences between. So this in one batch, this equals something of this. If you look at that, the percentage difference of consistency over here versus over here, even in the small amount that I pulled out, is terribly inconsistent. But that's the difference, sliced versus smashed and done that way. So I'm going to see if I can get
precision ground.
If I can get YouTube in there like that. Get my arm out of the way. You guys can see there the differences in consistency. So there we go. All right. So on that, we'll do an Aeropress. The girls are going to quickly pull me up an Aeropress.
Boudars, do you have some hot water ready?
I've got plenty of hot water sitting behind me. I'm going to quickly rinse the filter. So we do the inverted method. Usually inverted meaning that's the normal way for the Aeropress to plunge down. If you haven't seen one of these guys, an awesome method of brewing, and for many, many, many reasons. Number one is mobility and the ability to travel with you, and the robustness of the little brewing unit. It's all it doesn't break, and it brews an awesome, an amazing coffee. Actually, you can do many, many, many different methods, many different recipes. My buddy Jeremy, who we've had on here live, Jeremy with Mark. Jeremy was the Aeropress champion, US Aeropress champion.
We actually did his recipe.
We did his recipe last time. Many years ago. He was the US Aeropress champion. So there's lots and lots, and they still have it. They have world Aeropress champions and all sorts of stuff. So awesome method, built by the dude who built
Invented the frisbee.
Golf frisbee, wasn't it though? He did. But anyway, lots of bits of trivia.
You're just full of it.
Yeah, literally.
Trivia, I mean.
Yeah, that too. All right, so I'm actually going to use the scale on this guy. We'll pop this up here and we'll zero it out. We've got the filter. It's all set. It's rinsed. We weigh 21 grams of coffee without spilling it. 21 grams of coffee on a fine grind, and the grinds to the Aeropress to a level bed. Yeah, so we'll do this. We'll add 21 grams. Why do we use grams? Purely just because of its controllability, honestly. Because the metric system's on. I know. I'm in the US, but Anyway, the coffee world, actually here, even in the US, it does operate on the metric system. It uses grams, and it's much easier, more finite, and much better to get along with. So we've got a bloom, and you actually see it. You can see this gassing off, and you can see it bubbling up and starting the extraction process, opening the pores and the cells of the coffee and the coffee grounds, so you're able to get more extraction. The actual extraction starts, so the cells open up and the gas from the roasting process starts being released from those cells, and then we start the emulsification. We also start the extraction process, getting the coffee flavors and aromas and elements out of the coffee grounds and into the coffee liquid that we like to drink. So we want to finish with a total of 200 grams, and I'm about 130 right there. Making sure I can fit this all in, which is going to be a piece of cake. All right. Don't worry about it. I'll do 45 seconds. I'm going to rough it. All right, we'll let that stay like that for about a minute. And then, hopefully I've chosen a big enough glass. Let's see. What do you suggest? This one? Let's see. I'm just hoping I can press it down, hoping I can hold it and get it inverted. And she'll be right, mate. We'll get it. All right, so I'm saying that's about 45 seconds, and then we turn it upside down. Or so we do it the right way. This is the correct way to put it all through. I know David Lemieux. He does this. He does Aeropress a lot. So David, if you're watching, tell us some of your secrets. You got some great methods. And you use this on a regular basis. Just firmly and gently press it down. No rush. This method does represent an espresso style of coffee brewing method. So that's it. This one makes a perfect the perfect amount for that cup. So great little method. Really nice extraction on this guy. I did use our espresso blend this morning. So check it out. This is very versatile. It not only does it do espresso very, very well, it also does Aeropress, and this one also does drip filter too. French press does really, really well. So because of the process that I use to roast espresso, it also lends itself to other brewing methods. So check it out. It's on the website. It's at the stores. It's great blend. Super, super useful. Super flexible and tasty as. So I got to make another one. One for you. One for you.
Yes, please. It's okay. You don't want to go there.
Yeah, of course I do. We can do another one. No problem. Let's see what we got here. Let's put that there like that. And then what else? Any questions? Anyone there? Anyone got anything else?
Do you think it's good to put would you put really like fruity, bright, natural coffees through the Aeropress?
Yeah, why not? You know, that's I think that's part of the experiment. I definitely think it's part of the experiment. You know, I know coffees like Papua New Guinea or Sumatra or those heavier Indonesian coffees that do very, very well as espresso do excellent as an Aeropress. But on the other side of the fence, in competitions that lots of people like to use the really bright, fruity, high character. It can be anything from any brew method. It's purely personal taste, and sometimes you just go through the Aeropress and all of a sudden you find a whole new coffee, and it could be a huge thing. So don't limit yourself. There's no limits to coffee. Don't be out there, experiment, try it out, see what happens. Why not? All right, what have we got coming up?
It's Remember Monday on Monday.
Wow, Remember Monday?
Big day.
It's massive.
Because it's your birthday next week.
Yeah. Another year. Jeez, another lap around the sun.
You made it.
I made it. How am I this year? They're adding up. What the hell? So I have to be thankful of where I'm at these days and the fact that I actually got here and I'm in good health and good condition.
Are you replying to Mary Beth?
How old am I? 1968.
Mary Beth is here today. She wants to know what we do with our used coffee grounds.
Good question. Actually, a lot of the time they end up outside in the garden. Not all of the time, but most of the time they end up outside in the garden. As you saw, I just ditched this one in the trash, but yeah, because it's really good. They're actually I've read a lot about grounds in the garden, and I think they say that the most beneficial part for coffee is that it puts back nitrogen into the ground. So I think that's what the major benefit of putting grounds back in. We get lots of people taking ground. We still got that program. We've had who used to take the chaff from the roasting process. You end up with a chaff, like a light skin wrapped around the beans that comes off. Excuse me. And she used to come in and get that every week for her garden. But we're in Florida, so it's very hard to think about fire for the 3 weeks of the year that it might get below the temperature that we need. All right, so back brewing another one. Back to zero.
Yeah, Tina's trying to tell you to hustle. His mom needs a coffee.
Yeah, clearly. It's of the same household. Come on, now.
No.
Yeah, now. All right, so let that steep off, let that gas off. And how we doing? We're just about done. 10 minutes to go. Member Monday. Don't forget Member Monday. There's also a new code for
free shipping.
So check that out. We're in September now, so free shipping code is fall y'all. Yeah, I don't know how that one ever.
Fall y'all.
It's Folly all.
No. And
FALLYALL.
We had a new bookmark come out.
We have a new bookmark?
And there's a little deal on it for the people that read it and bring it in.
There's
some tricks. There's some tricks to our bits and pieces. Go.
Yeah, you have to actually read the bookmark and you'll discover something really special.
It's really special.
Isn't there something in the newsletter as well? Just went out, or got someone doing sign up for newsletter? And there's a bonus going on as well for that. Or is that something on building? Must be something on building.
Yeah, I don't know about that one yet.
Also, if you order a coffee at Culinary Cafe.
What
did I say?
Culinary Coffee.
Culinary Cafe.
Tim and Jen down there at Culinary Cafe. The girls were down there yesterday doing live, right?
We did the live from Culinary Cafe, and we did a little bit of tutorials on making some latte art. Amy did that with the team there. But they have a special gift for you when you order coffee this month.
So does the Canopy in West Palm Beach. The Hilton.
Yes, so we'll talk about all those wholesale customers. There's a lot of them participating this month.
Do you help? You want to go straight into this? It's really hard.
See if you can see what I'm not seeing, and see if you can put the cap on that. Just shoulder, just give me a reminder. Don't push down, whatever you do. Don't push down. Anyway. All right. So for whatever reason, here it goes. I got it. We'll just invert that. Squeeze it off. All right, so that's it for us. Grinders, they are a very, very important part of your brewing methods. When we talk about blade grinder, what it does, how it works, its pros and cons. It's definitely, the pros are it's cheap, it's easy, it's convenient. The cons are inconsistency in grinds, inconsistency in flavor for your coffee in the morning, and the recreation of the same coffee every single morning will be very, very challenging. I challenge you to try and beat the challenge and work out a way to make it more consistent, but honestly, it's very, very difficult. And the ability for it not to be able to switch between brewing mediums, whether you're brewing a French press or whether you're brewing a Aeropress or anything in between, the blade grinder's going to struggle at best. Hand grinders, obviously, they're fun. They travel well. The cons, the pros are they travel well. They're reasonably priced, easy to use, very consistent. But if you're doing any more than 1 cup or 2, I think if you're doing any more than 2 cups, it's huge challenge.
It's a workout.
It's a
You're
workout.
gonna have great arms.
Yeah, you have great arms. You'll end up with great arms.
Or
for
one
sure.
great arm.
Yeah. So that's the hand grinder. But at the same time, look, these guys massively adjustable, easy to use, easy to travel with, and this kind of setup is an amazing kit, an amazing travel kit. You run with a hand grinder and Aeropress, you can travel anywhere, hike anywhere, go camping anywhere. Fairly unbreakable system of setup going on there. So great advantages to this. The ultimate though, we definitely recommend conical burr grinders. Ease of use, massively consistent, and you know that you're going to wake up and you're going to get the same cup of coffee. If you don't change the setting on this machine ever, you're going to get the same cup of coffee every single day in your brewed drip filter machine, day on day on day. So fresh ground, ready to go, whole beans, so storage. So the advantages and the pros of this guy, ease of use, consistent, maintaining flavor profile, and they're quick. Honestly, it took me 20 seconds to grind enough coffee for two brews for the girls, and so makes it super simple and consistent. The cons, and it's personal related, I think, for the most part, and relative to budget, but they can be expensive. So if you're going to look after yourself, I'm going to say, look after yourselves, look out for your budget, and buy something to suit your needs. If you need help, come and talk to us. We're always happy to steer you in the right direction, knowing that a machine like this one in particular covers a good category of brew methods. And then, outside of that, we can help you decide on the type and the amount of money to spend. But $100 burr grinder does a much better job than a $100 blade grinder or even a $25 blade grinder. So spend the money. They do last a lot longer. And the cons, I think that's the only con really, is the cost that you can spend. Like, I know these guys range anywhere from $100 or less all the way up to the top of the line. For these guys is like $700 or $800. So this guy here, just out of curiosity, this guy is $300 roughly. So this guy,
We have it on our website. Actually.
we have it on our website. It's the Brassetti 270. Great grinder, but it's $300, and that's not what you usually find in the home kitchen ready for making coffee in the mornings. But definitely great. Bodum is another great machine that we use. So yeah, that's it. Grinders. I wasn't going to take it here today, but I did.
Daily
Hopefully somebody out there learned something along the way, and a little bit of education and a little bit of fun, and open to experimentations. That's it. What do we got? Member Monday. Don't forget Member Monday. Both locations, 150 North US 1 Tequesta and 221 Old Dixie Highway in Tequesta. Both locations have running Member Monday. That means if you are a VIP member, you get 20% off everything in the store. Well, all coffee related, coffee in bags and drinks.
Yeah.
Come on in, check it out. Free shipping again this month. So check that out on our website. We've got the triple pack up there. It's $45 for a triple pack of coffee, and it is free shipping. Fall Y'all, FALLYALL. For that code. There was something else. I'll read the postcard or the flyer. What is it?
Bookmark, we already said. Yeah.
Bookmarker. It's in both stores. And also be on the lookout if you're online. If you're an online shopper, we are starting to do Member Monday not Member Monday. We're doing a Member Monday kind of promotion for those online. So we're looking at online codes. So be on the lookout.
VIP day, yeah.
Online VIP day. It comes in an email, right? You have to sign up for our newsletter. So 2 of those conditions, and that's what it was. I was trying to remember. 2 things you have to do. You have to sign up for our newsletter, and you have to open the newsletter to find the code that we embed in that for the online special. So, and it is a good special. So keep your eyes out for that. I'll be back this afternoon. Am I coming back?
Cocktail time.
Cocktail time.
I will.
Actually, I've got 6 new ones to choose from. So we'll see how we end up. See which one we decide on. Bye for now. Bye Instagram. I'm getting the push along over here.
Bye bye. And this one.
Yeah, I'll end this one too. All right. That's it for now. Thank you for joining us.